Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Dirt Grand Stihl. So yesterday morning, or well, mid-morning, we were back working on our ditch project that we've been doing in between harvest when it rains. And unfortunately I ran a track off of the 200. I was reaching over here over the edge trying to get some tree tops out of the ditch that were pretty far out there, and I kind of got up here on the ridge. My track was a little loose and I run it off. So Dad's Strength and I are gonna put it back on this morning so we can continue cleaning up trees, getting them to the burn piles. I know this project, we've been on it for a while, but that's because it was one of these deals where we could work on it as we had time, because there was no hurry on it. So it worked out good for our harvest schedule. So we're gonna get this track tensioner bled off. We're gonna get that tensioner pushed in, or idler pushed in, and then we're gonna put the track back on using the 621 case loader with the root rake on it and grapples. We'll use it to get it hooked in the track and get it run back on. So I'm gonna get the tensioner out right now. It's inside this hole, which it's pretty nasty right now because it's muddy. So I think I got the right wrench with me, I can't remember. Ground's wet. That don't make it much fun. There we go. So as you can see in that hole, there's a tensioner in there. Can't really see it because it's dark in that hole. I get a flashlight, we'll look in there. So there it is. We got to thread that out, and then that'll let the grease out, and we'll be able to push the idler back in. Oops. There we go. Okay, it's loose. Okay, there it is. So I take mine completely out. You don't have to take them completely out, but it sure helps the grease get out quicker. So now we're gonna start the excavator up. I'm gonna take the grapples on it and I'm gonna force that idler back in, and we'll start putting track back on. So by taking the grapples, I'm going to force that idler back in there. See it very good out my window, but just gonna work it back in there. There, it should be all the way in. So now I'm gonna come over, I'm gonna rear myself up over here out of the way if I can. There we go. Now let Dad's Strength bring the loader up. And we'll see what we can do. Oh, I gotta move it some more. So now we're gonna take grapples on the loader. We're gonna try to get that track flipped back on. First things first, we need to get it up on the first roller. Get over here so we can see me. Okay. There we go. It's a little more. Let's see if we can scoot it a little more. There we go. Okay. Now let's go to the end. we can get it, maybe. That idler would stay where it needs to stay. Okay, I'm gonna have to help him a little more. Well, actually I got it back on with the grapples. It wasn't too pretty, but it's back on. So just couldn't get at it with the right angle with the loader because of the narrow area we have to work here, and it's soft up here, so we were having trouble with that. So I was actually able to get the grapples under it and roll it right back on like you would a belt on a pulley. So now we'll get the track tensioner threaded back in there and grease her back up, tighten her up. So we're going to start tightening our track back up, put our tensioner back in there, thread it in. Thread's a little hard because it's got grease against it now. Everybody's like, why do you always carry seed bags with you? Well, because of this simple reason right here. It gives you something to kneel on when the ground's cold and wet. It's just a cheap thing to throw in the truck, and when you're done, you can just throw them away. Almost tightened up. Just a little bit more. Now I gotta get a wrench. I need to take a wrench and actually cut it off to make me a stubby that fits in this hole. Okay, now, so this is how you tighten the tracks on an excavator. Take a grease gun. For you guys that don't know, take a grease gun, lock it on there with the locking lube. It makes it easy. Oh, better shift that higher. We'll be here all day. And just let her go. It'll take a few seconds. It's a lot better than using a hand pump grease gun to do this, that's for sure. We're not going to video the whole thing. I'll change tubes here pretty soon anyways. So there we have it, all tightened up, ready to go again. It might be a hair tight. It should have a little bit of sag in it, but there's actually quite a bit of mud in the rails right now, so I made it a little bit tighter because once that mud works out, it'll loosen up a hair. So, we're ready to go again. So we're gonna go grease the other side up a little bit, tighten them up because it's set for quite a while, and these older hoses, they bleed off over time, which is not major, but you want to pump them up maybe once a month, just a little bit if they set. So we're gonna go do the other side real quick, and then we'll get back to moving some brush. So basically what we're doing on this project is on the other side of this levee is the Robbins ditch, and it needs to be cleaned. So what we're doing is we came through, we took all the brush off of the ditch. I cut it with the feller buncher and cut some of it by hand. And now we're cleaning up that brush, and we're gonna pile it and burn it. I'm trying to run the hoe with the camera in my hand at the same time. It's kind of rough sometimes. But anyways, we're gonna pile all this brush and burn it. The problem is, as you can see how wet it is down here, it's because they're starting to flood this property for duck hunting season. So they're flooding it as we're working. So that's kind of making things a little bit rough, because before it was dry enough out here, we could drive around with the loader out here, and I could throw the stuff out of the ditch and carry it, and the loader would carry it away. Well, now I'm having to carry it to where the loader can get it on some firmer ground and take it to the pile. So kind of makes it a little tough. It's kind of a tough go here, being that they're making it wet. I gotta figure out I'll hold the camera with my legs. I don't have my fancy camera mounts with me right now. I left them in the truck. So bear with me on the camera work quality. I just figured I'd fill you in a little bit on what's going on. So basically we're being run out of here by water. So I've got to get this done in the next couple days and get out of here, because by the time they flood it, this will be right here over my tracks. So So they put quite a bit of water in here. So I'm gonna have to get a chainsaw and get up there and cut that big one up, because that's a big tree right there. So we found a log that I can roll it, but I can't pick it up. So hell, we got bigger wood than logger weight. That's a big tree, a big log. Came from that tree right over there. So we're gonna get it cut up and get it to the pile. It's a shame there's nothing we can do with these. That one's got a bad spot on the other side anyway, so it's not a real good lumber log. Yeah, it's got the Ms880 with the 4-foot bar, and that tree's almost 4 foot across. Well, it's more than that actually. It's probably 5 foot across. So there's a lot of wood there. I need to get a roller tip bar for that saw. That one's junk. It don't have a roller sprocket in it. It just drags over the end of the bar. And it takes a lot of performance away from that saw. Well, once he's finished cutting, I'll get that thrown out of the way. Anyways, if you like this episode of Dirt Grain Steel, give me a like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Well, I guess it didn't go all the way through. Okay. Sized chunk of wood to grab. Roll it over there, Dad's strength can get it. Get it again. Cannot get a good bite on these big chunks. Log dam. I'll get on the other side and get them out. Across my wooden bridge. Crossing a log bridge. Okay, I don't want to bore you watching me move these all the way to the pile, because it's not going to be a fun adventure as big as they are. I'll get them there though. I guess if you can't pick it up, you just roll it. The funny thing is I did actually comment on one of Logger Wade's posts on Facebook, telling him that if he wanted all these logs, if he'd come cut them, he could have them all, and I'd even load them out for him. I guess it's just a little too far of a drive from where he's at in Indiana and where I'm at in Indiana. He's actually way down south from me. I looked it up one time, how many hour drive it is. It's almost, I think it's like almost a 5-hour drive to get to where he's at and where I'm at. So, wouldn't make sense to come all the way here for a couple loads of logs. They're cottonwood anyways, so they're not really too valuable. They're kind of a hindrance to us. There, I got it for a little bit. It's at that certain size where my grapples just don't want to hang on to it. If we can get it through this next ditch and over to the other side, we'll have it made. Ditches are here is because after they are done flooding it for the ducks, they pump all the water out and then they farm it. So they got to have all these little ditches that lead to the pumps. So that's why there's so many little ditches to cross. And this side is the only sand ground that we have available to burn on. We can't burn behind me out in the muck because it'll catch the muck and the peat moss on fire, and then we'll have a hell of a disaster on our hands. So that's why we're moving everything over here. To the pile load. I'm happy now. The other chunk will get in a little bit, but it's already on this side of the ditch, so it's good. So we'll finish cleaning up this little stuff. Got to finish cutting up the top from that big tree, and then we're done with all the big trees. All the cottonwoods are cleaned up then. So I'm happy with that. We might actually go to cut some beans this afternoon. It seems like it's drying out pretty good. So we might go cut a little beans. We'll see what happens here in an hour or so. We're going to stay at it and see what we get finished today. I'd like to get this job finished today and out of here. We'll see what happens. Okay, so here's the rest of that big tree. Let's see if we can use old Japanese muscle here to get it up out of there. She's heavy. There's a lot of wood there yet. I ain't get it up here though. If I can just get it up here on the edge, we'll cut some more off. Come on. There you go. We definitely deal with some big trees in our part of Indiana here. Old cottonwood, old growth. Come on, just a little more. Well, sometimes I wish I had like a 450 or even a 330 would be nice sometimes. But I like the agility of the 200. A lot of guys are like, you do so much with a 200. I say, yeah, because I can do a lot with a 200. The 200 size excavator is probably the best size out there. Oh, I get it now. Come on, don't stop sliding. Come on, get up here. Oh yeah. Come on, get up here. There we go. Now it's up out of the ditch. We can cut it all up. Sweet. Get all that nasty stuff off so I can get to where I want to cut. Okay. Dad's on the phone, so I'm going to go grab the 880 and get this cut up. So we got her all cut up now. Oops. See if we can break it apart. Started rolling, so I stopped cutting. Just safer to break them at a certain point. Just one log left to cut up. I'm gonna set this around behind me and let Dad's strength and Dad have at it. I'll just leave it right here. I can cut it right there. Play it where it lays. So that's the last of the big trees. So I'm happy about that. The rest I can cut with the buncher. Dad's strength's going to get some shit done. Got the smaller saw, 20-inch bar. Well, probably gonna end this episode right here. So if you like this episode, give me a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.